Hello judges, hello half more. My name is Tomowa and this is my model for the blend, match and create from theory to glam with the magic of color theory. And here is my process. So the first thing I did was to carve her brows, though I didn't really do much because she does not have full hair. So the next thing is cleaning her face. For moisturizing, I'll be using my Cosmetics moisturizer in Bomb. So I had to moisturize her skin deeply because she kind of have a texture skin. Yeah, so I'm making sure I blend everywhere. I'll be using my Ezekiel primer. This will help my foundation to go smoothly and to stay in place, and it will also give the skin an even looking skin tone. The next thing I'll be doing here is using my oil block to avoid our sweat, and then I spray it up. For my foundation, I'll be using Ezekiel and Everlasting Sink. It's not a Nigerian brand, but Ezekiel is a Nigerian brand, so I'll be mixing the two together to get a skin tone. My model is light skin with a yellow undertone, so I'm going with a foundation that is full coverage and has a yellow undertone. I avoided using a very light foundation because if I'm to look at her neck, I would use a very light foundation, but I also looked at the fact that I'm still going to highlight her under eyes, and by the time I highlight her under eyes, it's still going to match with her skin. So I made sure I applied the foundation on her skin very well. So I avoided using foundation under her eyes to avoid her under eyes looking cakey. So the next thing I'll be doing is using my foundation as low light in shade 30. So I use this for a low light undertone first before using my creaming contour. I'm just simply blending the contour and in heavy areas I want them to be. And this is the result. It looks so smooth and beautiful. So the next thing I'll be doing right now is using my creamy contour in red and orange because of our undertone. So that will suit our undertone actually. So I'll be blending it only on our cheek. I'm not going to apply it on her forehead. I don't want it to be so colorful, so I'll be using it only on her cheek and her bridge, a pointed bridge. So I'm going ahead to apply my Advocate concealer in shade 40. Yeah, I just used 2 tones lighter than the foundation I applied. Yeah, so I'm not doing too much. I'm not going to be applying too much on her skin. So I'm going on with blending her under eyes and making sure I blend it well to avoid it being cakey and patchy. So while blending, I make sure I also blend the contour so as to make the highlighted areas and contour to be smooth. So the next thing I'll be doing here is using my View Beauty powder to set her under eyes. So what I use mostly is powder instead of using a setting powder. So I'm setting her highlighted areas, her under eyes, the forehead and the chin, then a nose bridge. I just literally push it into the skin so as to make the powder blend in well. For her entire face, I'm using the same V Beauty powder to blend her face. And I made sure it was a perfect shade, and I tried to blend it all over her face just to avoid any creamy parts on her face. I also made sure I applied the powder on her contour and blush. So the next thing I'll be doing here is using my darker shade of powder to contour her nose. So I'm just going to be doing that straight line on her nose just to give her nose that slim nose. Yeah, so after doing this, I'll be blending the nose very well. I'll be blending the contour. So I'm going to be using my V Beauty powder in a darker shade to contour her cheek before using my blush. To enhance her blush, I'll be using my CPD powder blush a little bit of heat anyways. I don't want it to be too much. So I'll be blending it all over our contoured areas. Then I'll be using my powder brush to blend our face. Then I'll be using my Kiss Beauty to set in the skin work and to prep it down. So I'll be using my Adventure Brow Gel liner to outline our brows. So I'll be brushing up our brows first. Then I'm outlining our brows with my Adventure while using my flat brush to outline. I make sure my angle brush is very flat so as to make me draw my brows well. So I'll be using my David's pencil to create a very tiny stroke, then to fill up her brows. So I'll be using the same concealer I use in concealing our under eyes to conceal our brows. So I'll be making sure I do it neatly. So after concealing our brows, I make sure I blend it well with my blending brush. I blend it well, and then I'm concealing the second part of the brows. So after concealing the two brows, I use my powder brush to blend in well so as to avoid it looking creamy. So I'll be using brown shade of my powder for my transition color. So the next thing, I'll be using my shadow primer before applying my shadows. And for my shadows, I'm going to be using Silver Mark. So I'll be using a wine and brownish kind of shade for my base. So I'm just going to be placing it on our eyes. Then I'll be doing the second part to like the same way I did the first one. So I'll be adding another orange kind of shade on it just to make it more colorful. So I'll be adding the black shade and I'll be placing it on the side, yeah, to make it more smoky kind of. So I'm making sure I blend it really well. Then the next thing is my lashes. Then I'll be using my highlighter just to make it pop out. Then I'll be making sure I blend the face thoroughly. Then I'll be spraying it with my setting spray just to bring down the look. And I'll be using my finishing spray from Soap Pro to seal it up. Then my lips, I'll be outlining my lips. So I'll be using my Girls Corner lip palette in nude and I'll be blending it all over our lips. So I'll be blending it upward, inward and downward. So after applying my lips, I'll be applying my lip gloss from Kiss Beauty also. And this is the finished look. I hope you all enjoyed the process. Thank you. Bye.